episode number 209, we cover Super Mario Run.
We also find out who is the man behind the mask in Deathstroke's movie casting.
And why don't you guys have a seat over there? We have Hansen VS Predator, a new update, and we're not happy about it.
And for our comic book highlight, we've got Skybourne #1, The Personal Project by Frank Cho.
All of this and so much more on today's show. Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Daniel.
And we are coming to you live, but not really, from our brand new studio, aka a walk-in closet.
We hope you all enjoyed the guest episode last week.
Yes.
We were not able to record, but we were able to put up the episode that I had with Mr. Riggs while I was up in Chicago. Perfect timing, as we did have to move. And as you mentioned, we now have a dedicated space, sort of, for recording. Because closets are the best spots for recording. And we're still testing it out. We're still moving some things in here. But it should be a little bit more isolated moving forward. By the end of the year, we'll definitely have it nailed. But we've got clothes that are soaking up some of the sound.
There's a rug. An IKEA $12 rug. Because fucking it was cheap.
Other podcasters will have eggshells in their room, like on their fucking
You mean
walls.
like egg cartons?
Egg cartons. And then others will have the professional foam shit. Mm-hmm. Not us. We've got clothes.
Sweaters.
Because we're broke.
Some blue jeans.
And those are our cartons.
Yes. Perfect. Well, we still need to put up like shelves on the other side. We only have one side of clothes.
Then it'd be super isolated.
Yeah. And I mean, we're working on that. But like, we got moved in. We got painted. That was a big thing, was painting this shit. And slowly, over time, we'll just get everything put where it should be.
I haven't gotten feedback yet on the Riggs episode, so please let me know. Let us know what you thought of that on Twitter at ReasonsI'mBroke. If Brokettes like that interview, the guest, that is, again, thanks to all of our Patreon supporters. Let me know, and we can arrange to have him on the show later on in the future.
But surprise, he's still going to be on the show later on in the future.
Maybe he will. Maybe he will. Also, August. Mm-hmm. August was our best month in downloads in 2016.
Woohoo!
All of the whole year, huge thanks to all the downloads. Huge thanks for tuning in every single week, for letting your friends know, for letting other Brokettes know about the show. All of that helps us, and seeing us topping the charts or topping our own months in the year helps keep us going, and is hopefully letting us know that we're doing something right.
So as we mentioned before, we moved. And we got more responsibilities than just our brand new studio and its upkeep.
Yeah, I now have to mow the lawn. Mm-hmm. I have to cut the grass. First time I've done it since I was a teenager. Not really a hardship. It's just a new experience, something I have to do every week now, and try to fit that into my schedule. And I found out just recently, as I was mowing, because we can't afford our own lawnmower, so we're borrowing someone else's. And this thing has a self-drive function thing on it.
Self-propelling, yes.
Self-propelling. And I never had that as a kid. And I never had that growing up. We had to push the lawnmower. And it was a much bigger backyard when I was a teenager. It was more than... Like, the house itself was small, and then it just had a huge backyard. It was one of those houses where you could have your own deck there if you wanted. But the big appeal, people bought it because of the backyard. And unfortunately, that meant that you had to mow all of that every single week. And I had to do that in a push lawnmower. So as we're borrowing this one, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And everyone else is telling me, like, yeah, it's a self-propelling lawnmower. You don't have to really push them anymore. You kind of just walk it and guide it. I'm like, this is fucking insane. I wish I had this when I was young. Is this a new thing? And I asked my boss today, actually, and he said, no, actually, when I was 14, I had one of those too. And he's in his 40s now, so I'm like, so this technology has been around for years.
Forever, since before you were born.
It's just, this is what my family could afford, a good, decent pushing lawnmower. Mm-hmm. And I guess everyone else in the world had a self-propelling...
Not everybody else in the world.
Self-propelling lawnmower.
No, because, like, back when you were 14, we didn't own a self-propelling lawnmower. It was a push lawnmower.
They existed, though.
I mean, they existed, sure, but I didn't own one.
I am thoroughly enjoying that self-pushing lawnmower. It is quite nice.
I'm sure you are.
That is a luxury, and I'm loving it. That is a very nice luxury. I'm gonna, whenever we buy our own, I'm definitely gonna invest in the self-pushing version. But the last time I mowed the lawn, it was while I was in Illinois, and up there's no sand randomly in your backyard. Your backyard is not just sand with grass on it. So here, parts of it, I'm mowing ground. I'm just spitting sand all over, and I'm not used to that. I don't know how grass grows at all.
I don't know either, because we are just sand. It's nothing else, just sand.
And I mow when the sun is setting, because that's when the wasps are going to sleep. And even then, they still pop up out of nowhere. Giant fucking palmetto bugs all around.
Those things are everywhere.
When I was using the weed eater, I tried to...
The weed whacker?
I've heard it called weed eater too, but it's a weed whacker, it's a weed eater, whatever you call it. I tried to get the palmetto bug, and I guess I just ended up swooshing it with the air from the whacker, and it just went. It just went. Whew.
Did it spin like?
It did. It actually did. Dumbass palmetto bug didn't even take flight. I know it can fly. It's bullshitting.
Those things are disgusting.
That's why I wanted to whack it.
Like,
and
I would have seen it and like dropped the whacker and like left. I'd just done.
It's pretty nasty. The spiders around, I left them alone because they caught... I saw one catch a fucking wasp. There's just this dead wasp in there. I'm like, fuck yes! You're my friends. Kelly may not like you, but...
don't like them.
But I like you.
Don't like them.
Doing just fine. Just, in general, a lot of maintenance and upkeep with the lawn and the home. And it's kind of exciting. It's kind of nice because it's not a new place, so there's always a project, always something to do. Less carpet. So now it's a lot of sweeping, more dusting. Got my statues all settled. Got my comic room all settled. We haven't put up posters yet. It's good. What do you think? Are you having fun?
Well, of course I am, because it's the first time we haven't had roommates, so that's what's most excited for me. Because it's just us and our little family, and like this is our space. I got to come in here, before we moved and just painted everything. I'm like, these are my colors, painting shit, done. My parents bought us a crib. So they're just waiting, and they're just like, we're just gonna put this in your garage. It's here in your garage for, when you're ready.
To be used eventually.
Eventually, like next year, when you want to get on that. So, I mean, it's nice. Like you said, there's always something to do. You did mention there's more bugs than we had before.
Right.
So where we lived before was essentially an apartment. You didn't have to worry about the lawn. They came and they sprayed, and so this is very different. So I'm very cautious about leaving food out or food on plates, because I'm like, no, the bugs are going to, these palmetto bugs are going to get in here. And they will. They'll find a way in. So even though, we've sprayed... Keeping track of that. Ace has a doggy door, which is just my favorite part, because she loves that backyard. But she still hasn't learned to pee by herself at night. She still wakes me up to go pee. So,
I mean, she's been doing it since she was, 4 months old?
No, we got her, 9 weeks old.
9 weeks old?
Yeah. Of course, which I get. She'll learn. And she's real nervous, too, so she barks at everything in the backyard.
Any unfamiliar sound.
Yes, anything. There'll be a truck that goes by outside, and she's barking at it. I'm like, but it's all the way over there.
The first fucking night, there was those cats fighting in the backyard, and I've never heard cats fighting or they were being raped, whatever it was, because some of my cat owner friends said it was probably cats raping other cats, because in the animal kingdom that's what it is. Yeah. And I said, well, that was fucking frightening. Those screams are I already don't like cats, so I had the hardest time sleeping that first night. And I thought, if this is an every night thing, I'm going to very quickly make some enemies with those cats and the neighbors, whoever owns those cats, because this is fucking bullshit. Both Ace and I kept waking up every time you heard the row.
It's terrifying, isn't it? I remember the first time I heard cats fighting. I'm like, oh, this is like a horror movie.
It is fucking terrible, but since then we haven't heard it. There's still cats in the area, but it's just, I guess, part of settling in and getting used to screaming noises, fighting or rape noises. I don't know what that is.
We're gonna pretend it's fighting noises.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
We'll pretend.
This is gonna be probably the weirdest transition we've done, or the darkest. But statutory rape is something that you can be charged with.
Yes.
If you're an adult soliciting a minor. That's the only way I could have transitioned out of that. And it presented me.
You could have just said, I enjoyed our house and other people who like to go to other people's houses. I don't know. You could have done it that way. Why'd you bring up statutory rape?
Because these kit touchers are getting nailed again because of Hansen versus Predator.
They're trying to nail people.
Hansen versus Predator is getting pedophiles off the street. And this is part of that Kickstarter campaign that we mentioned before. Mm-hmm. We've mentioned it 2 other times. And it is now up and live on Crime Watch Daily. Now, the problem is that it aired on September 12th. And then 2 days before the airing, all the Kickstarter backers, which we've all been asking, this thing's been done for months now. And you've been shopping it around to networks, which is already kind of iffy. Like, okay, well, if it's done, why don't you show it to us? But then I understand because they don't want to give you the whole documentary to the public. Well, it's the Kickstarter backers, but it's going to get shared and it's going to get leaked elsewhere. And then try to shop that to a network because the networks are going to say, well, who gives a shit? Why is this valuable anymore to us if you can get it on the internet? So instead what they said, they told all the Kickstarter backers, hey, we're going to be airing on Crime Watch Daily. Check it out on September 12th on these networks. And all the backers, including myself, were like, hold on a sec. I thought we got first access, first viewing of the investigation. And they said, no, you can watch it with everyone else on Crime Watch Daily. And people flipped. People are mad. I'm upset too. And it sucks. Now here's the part where I'm trying to view it from both sides. The investigation, the whole thing is finished, and they've got, I forget, over 10 people that they caught. They aired 1 on that segment. Every week they're going to show 1 pedophile that they caught. And if they had given us all 10, that's again the network saying, well, you're giving away the entire segments. So the only thing I can think of, the only way they can sort of remedy this is if they give us a download link of them, not just a stream, but a download, and then give us that full, complete investigation maybe 2 weeks before the whole thing wraps up. That way, by then, the network should know, okay, we get this many viewers in the last 8 episodes. We're going to renew it for another season. It doesn't matter if they show the last 2. So all of that matters. All of that is important. But, I mean, aside from that, what they did was kind of shitty to the backers.
What they did was so shitty to the backers. They pretty much said, thanks for your money, bye. Like, they don't understand how Kickstarter works. They just said, oh, this is a place for us to make money. Like, no, that's not what it is. You have to give something back also.
You should be satisfied by knowing that you helped this investigation out. That's, right. I guess, their thing. And it sucks. Chris Hansen, I know he has nothing to do with this, but I tagged both him and Hansen versus Predator. Like, how about you didn't even give us a link where we can stream the show. Mm-hmm. It had to be other backers who said, hey guys, here's on crimewatchdaily.com. Here's a direct link. They didn't even send it to anyone. At the very least, say, hey, you can watch the first part of the investigation right here if you missed it on broadcast. Here's a link for you guys. Thank you so much. Not even that. It's just not the way you run a Kickstarter. It's not the way you run any kind of campaign.
Like I said, guys, it sounds like they just don't understand it.
Thank you so much for backing us for the decals at the $5 mark. We're just not going to send those. We're just going to just leave it.
We're going to pitch them to a store.
Yeah.
And then you can go pick them up at the store.
Right. You can go pick it up at the store. The shout-outs is another thing that, I mean, we're just not going to deliver. We're not even going to mention that and not deliver on it. But yeah, the decals you can get at this store. Thank you so much. We were able to shop them around. That's the kind of thing. That's the equivalent of it. That's perfect. Very good. So that's your Hansen versus Predator update. The investigation is great.
It was awesome.
Love it, but this is still not okay.
Right. No, I agree. Absolutely. It's not okay. But the investigation was awesome if you guys haven't checked it out. So keeping on the trend with things that are just not okay and things that are pissing a lot of people off, through updated guidelines on YouTube, the video streaming site will be tightening up its advertisement to exclude content that is, quote, not advertiser friendly.
So this includes, quote, inappropriate language, vulgar language, and controversial subjects, end quote.
Well, fuck.
What is a controversial subject?
I mean, lots of things. I could think of controversial things.
So could I. And the problem here is it's going to be different.
Yes.
So whatever YouTube decides is controversial, that's not going to get ad backing.
Yes.
Whatever they decide is vulgar, that's not going to get ad backing.
Yes.
A bunch of channels that rely on ad revenue, because that is their job, are going to be are probably already affected by this. They've already had to tweak their content to not include vulgar language, which some of their viewers expect. Mm-hmm. And it's not a good thing for YouTube. I think out of this, there's going to be a new video streaming site that's going to pop up to try to get these YouTubers, these channels that aren't going to really put up with this.
Oh, for sure. You're mentioning people expect vulgar language. I don't trust anybody who doesn't use vulgar language. It's like, you're not a real person. I swear like a sailor.
As a result of this, many channels will not be able to monetize their videos as they did before unless they modify their content.
And, I mean, then you're changing your show and then you're going to lose viewers because what you're doing is what made you popular.
I guess this is so advertisers don't feel like they're associating themselves with a channel that might be vulgar. But I don't think any viewer makes that connection between the two. I think advertisers are probably viewing this as, well, viewers are going to think we're going to associate ourselves with what this person is saying. So here's YouTube going, well, anything we think is okay, you can advertise on, don't worry, everything is safe.
I don't even think it's the advertiser going to YouTube saying this stuff needs to change. Like, I really don't. I think this is just YouTube saying, well, we have this good thing going. What can we change? How can we make it better or make it feel more inclusive? Or, maybe they had one or two advertisers that chose not to advertise with them because they didn't want to be associated with other videos. But I don't feel like significant amount of advertisers are pulling out because of this.
It must be a big advertiser that they're trying to get then, if they're making this kind of modification, because who else, why else would they make that change?
Maybe, but then how many popular shows are they going to lose because of this?
Popular channels are already speaking out against YouTube's policies, which would also limit any content that advertisers don't want to associate themselves with. There's a hashtag going on, and that is hashtag YouTube is over party.
Well, there you go, YouTube. You may be getting that big advertiser, but you lose all these people. They're going to go someplace else, and they're gone.
Some of the channels are protesting. There are some channels that never cursed, and now they're cursing as kind of like a protest or whatever.
I love it.
And I don't know what's going to happen. I think either YouTube will filter out a lot of videos and people will monetize a lot less and they'll have to modify their content, or they're going to move on to other places like Vimeo or other streaming services where they won't be tagged as badly for advertisement or needing to modify their videos.
The smart thing for YouTube to do is when they get advertisers, ask them if they have a preference for vulgar or non-vulgar is what they're placed in front of. And there's going to be a lot of advertisers that won't care. If you're trying to appeal to a younger crowd, then yeah, put me in front of those videos. That's great. Like, I'm going to get advertisement. And then let the advertisers choose. And then, all the videos can still monetize. They'll just have different ads in front of them based upon what the advertiser chooses.
I agree. It should be, the advertisers should put themselves in a category. Is their advertisement kid-friendly? Is it all ages? Or is it like a red band trailer for a new movie? Maybe those red band trailers should be in the explicit videos, and then the all ages can be in everything. And then the ones that are aimed at younger viewers, then maybe put those in the non-explicit videos. I mean, that's probably the easiest solution to this,
of course,
to not piss off your content generators.
Instead of just saying, you're vulgar, you're not getting anything.
See, for us, I always assumed that we could not curse to monetize our videos at all, because when you first sign up and you go through the ads, it does tell you that any language that is heavier, they're not going to approve to monetize your videos. Well, maybe that was a looser rule or something, because I've seen a lot of channels that do curse in theirs that do get monetized and do get the ads placed in front of them. And it's not copyrighted content either, because they do that automatically for stuff like that. But other channels that are a little bit more vulgar have regular ads, and maybe it was just a looser rule in the past and now they're actually enforcing it. I'm not sure, but just to be safe for anything that you and I monetized, yeah, I did not put any cursing on it. Our unboxings are not explicit. The podcast is, and I don't monetize it on YouTube. But everything else I've tried to keep clean because of this rule. And that's something that we've done from the beginning, and it's not a problem. But someone that's been doing this for years, and that's their thing, I completely understand why they would be upset.
We'll see what happens. YouTube, like I said, they're going to have to do exactly what we said. Just let advertisers choose what they want to be in front of, or I really think they're going to lose a lot of channels that get them a lot of hits.
Nintendo also came forward with a ton of stuff, a ton of upgrades to the 3DS, some more Pokemon news, and that's what we're going to kick it off with. Players who purchase Pokemon Sun and Moon early will be rewarded with a special Munchlax distribution.
So until January 11th, trainers can download a Munchlax that can eventually learn the Z move, Pulverizing Pancake, as a Snorlax.
After 20 years, motherfucking Snorlax opens his eyes. Well, he's opened his eyes before, but this time he's not being knocked out or burned by something. He is pissed off, and someone took away his nap. Someone took away his food. He is moving quicker than he's ever moved before for the Pulverizing Pancake. For the first time, this is a move that murders your Pokemon. I mean, there's no way Pokemon aren't dead.
No, he gets up and runs
Snorlax.
to you and, like, squishes you with his whole 7,000-pound body.
Giant Snorlax squishing other Pokemon. There's a giant, like, there's a nuclear bomb explosion that comes from his ass. I don't know what he's doing.
So it comes from his ass? Is that where it comes from?
Or if it's just that much weight and the atoms underneath just creating so much pressure between other atoms and the rest of the Earth that it just creates that giant... It's incredible. It's amazing. What an awesome Z move. Snorlax is not getting a Mega Evolution. Instead, he's getting this all-out, one-time use only move that will probably help you out against any Pokemon you're going against. Because if that doesn't immediately knock out anything, including Mewtwo, I'm calling bullshit. Only other Snorlaxes and maybe Wailord can survive the attack.
There's no reason that everyone shouldn't have this Pokemon, because we all know we're going to buy this game. So you might as well just pre-order it and buy it and get your Munchlax.
But Kelly, I don't have a 3DS. Solution, get yourself Pokemon, borrow a friend's, or borrow a friend's Pokemon or 3DS, and download the Munchlax and leave it until you can get a 3DS. Mm-hmm. That's $40 you're spending, but it guarantees you the Munchlax, and you have the game, it saves, you are good to go.
Something else you need to buy to be able to play Pokemon better is an Apple Watch.
What does Apple and Nintendo have to do with one another? When have they worked together?
Just now. So they did announce that Pokemon Go will be available on your Apple Watch at an unspecified date.
No price point or street date has been given, but this is essentially every Apple Watch now has a Poke Walker, or whatever the hell that fucking thing is called. The Poke Watch that you use for Pokemon Go, that's going to be sold separately this month. That they have, I guess that's kind of cool. I mean, if you can afford the Apple Watch, and you have iDevices already, and you're still playing Pokemon Go by the time that updates, then that's a good thing. But this is just more evidence on the fact that Nintendo and Niantic and the Pokemon Company are all moving forward with mobile partnerships, with mobile apps, trying to expand the market to people that don't want to buy a whole system to play Nintendo games. The biggest evidence of this is the fact that now you're getting Super Mario Run.
Yes. Super
Mario Run is a game on the iTunes devices, on iOS devices, Android devices, that it is basically a traditional Mario game without the complication of actually controlling the character. I know that sounds like you're taking away the fun of Mario, but if you actually see the video, it's essentially Mario running forward, and you have to decide when to jump, when to get the power-ups.
That's so cool.
To make it easy when you have it on the go, because unless you have a controller plugged to that bitch, there's really no true way to play Mario on just your phone.
So they did announce this during the unveiling of the iPhone 7. So right now it's rolling out just on Apple devices. Android will come later this year, at a later date. I don't know, sometime.
Holiday season,
Probably,
whenever that is.
Of course. So I will enjoy playing this game on my phone, and you cannot enjoy playing this game.
That's fine.
On your phone.
I will play the traditional Mario. This is a tap-and-go Mario, which is cool. It's a lot of fun. I think that's going to cut down on a lot of the fake games that are popping up there. But for someone that doesn't have that much time and they want something a little bit simple with just one hand, this is perfect.
No, you did not get what I was saying. I want you to be jealous of my iDevice because I get fancy things and you have not.
I'm not jealous, though. I can't be jealous of an iDevice. No.
I want you to be jealous because I get fancy things before you.
I am not, though. Danny, what am I missing?
Danny, just be jealous. Just tell me you're jealous.
I'll be jealous when you actually get it and you're playing. How about that?
And you're jealous now.
And I'm jealous now.
Yes. Ha ha. I'm not really going to play that shit. You can play it on my phone.
Continuing on the Nintendo Direct, this was for September. It was a full 3DS special.
So this one's great. It's about time. Through an update available now, the 3DS Street Pass increases player encounters from 10 to 100.
About fucking time.
Right.
Too late, though. I mean, is anyone really still playing the Street Pass?
I mean, you do when you go to conventions.
And that's once a year, maybe twice a year. Even when we go to Disney, I don't have my 3DS with me most of the time. Now everyone's playing Pokemon Go, and even that is starting to wane.
I never really played Street Pass, but when I did, it was very annoying, like, at a convention. Because you'd have to open it every 5 seconds to, like, collect those 10 people. You couldn't just, like, go about your day. But can you imagine if you had all 100 saved up, like, clicking, "Hi, I'm Billy. I'm from Florida, and I like grilled cheese." I don't know, whatever the hell they say.
Yeah, I've got to download the update. I haven't done it yet. I haven't touched my 3DS in a while, and I probably will when once Pokemon Sun and Moon, honestly. That's probably the next time I'm going to play that. Mm-hmm. Because right now I can't afford the new Phoenix Wright game. I really want to play it.
Aww.
I really want to play it, but right now I just have to keep saving up. My account is kind of low, so it's hurting. So, a couple of things have to hold off for the minute. And also, there's more stuff coming as well with Nintendo. They're no longer really supporting the Wii U because they're waiting on the NX. So everything coming out from here and then is just kind of to keep the fan base sort of happy.
You could play the other Fire Emblem game.
I've still got that one that I could play. There's also going to be 4 new Legend of Zelda amiibos that are going to release on December 2nd. These
include an 8-bit Link, a Wind Waker 2-pack, and Ocarina of Time Link.
I'll definitely be getting the 8-bit Link, but all 4 of these fucking things are going to fly.
Oh,
Legend of
Zelda,
of huge. All the fans are going to get it. All of the versions. It'll go great with the 8-bit Mario that we have. 8-bit Link looks awesome. And the rest of them look great too. I think I'm going to skip out on all of them. Probably even the Ocarina of Time. But 8-bit Link, I cannot miss out.
We also have a new Mario game coming out called Mario Sports. This will combine soccer, baseball, tennis, and golf. This comes out spring 2017.
Full title on this one is Mario Sports Superstars. And I'm really excited for this because I love the Mario Super Striker games on the GameCube and the Wii.
No.
That fucking game was amazing. Now, I know this soccer is way different.
Yes.
It's not going to have all the power-ups. I don't think it's going to have online play. But just to get the Mario players playing soccer again, hopefully it's as goofy as the Sega or the Super Slam. It's the same makers of Sega Soccer Slam, so I keep mixing up the titles. Mario Sega Soccer Slam. That's what that shit was. This version I will play just for the soccer versions. Mario Tennis is cool. I think it's smart of them to combine the sports because last time tennis came out, I don't think it did as well as it's done. So they're trying to give it all a boost by saying, hey, you got 4 sports for the price of 1. You want Mario Golf, you want Mario Tennis, you get those in the $60 game or $40 game because it's on the 3DS. Plus you get the Mario Soccer game.
I loved Mario Tennis. I always played as Birdo. Never knew it was a man cross-dressing. Whatever.
I hope Yoshi knows.
I'm sure he does by now.
So he's just into it. It's cool.
But it was great. I loved that game. I played tennis in real life. Did I ever tell you that?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't know.
I used to play tennis in high school. I was really good at it.
Were you good at badminton too?
Yeah, I was great at badminton. Man, I was awesome. I was like, and then like I was beating everybody in my school, and they're like, "This is a lame sport. I don't play it anymore." I'm like, "No, we're playing badminton because it's the only sport I was good at." But yeah, I was really good. My dad used to play tennis a lot too.
During gym class, it was there was free days, and you could either play badminton or run the track. And those were my 2 options. I was like, we're just going to walk the track. And so just me and my buddies would just walk the track and talk about video games. Because that's all we talked about back then.
Yep. No, but badminton was like my thing. I also ran track in high school for like a day.
And you gave up?
So my school was really far away from where I live. So when they would all have the practice runs, I couldn't ever go because I lived so far away. Like it took me an hour to get there, and it was always on the days that I didn't go to school. So I mean, there wasn't a point. So I wish I had kept up with it because then maybe I would actually run more now instead of like being a fatty. But you know the Mario Sport game that I'm waiting for?
Which one?
Curling.
Mario Curling?
Curling.
Is that the Olympic one?
Yeah.
That's in Mario Olympics.
No way. There's Mario Curling?
Yep.
Well, shit. I don't want this game anymore. I didn't know it was a real thing. I just thought I was being funny.
The last huge one on the Nintendo Direct is Pikmin on the 3DS. Shigeru Miyamoto at E3 said that there was a Pikmin game in the works for the 3DS, and now we know how it functions. It is simplified, kind of like Super Mario Run. They didn't make a full Pikmin experience on the 3DS on the go. Instead, it's a 2D side-scroller with more focus on action than collecting and surviving.
Pikmin always stressed me out so much. Like, and then I used to play it, and then if one of my Pikmin would die, I'd restart the whole day.
Every one of those little guys matters.
Yeah, I loved them all. And they do, and I'm like, no, and you see their little ghosts. Oh.
That's the noise.
Yeah. But like when they were getting eaten.
I don't remember that.
They were
noise.
like, meow.
You'd be whistling like, get back! No!
And then those big red things would... I remember watching that bird. Do you remember that bird?
Yeah, that thing ate a bunch of them.
He was like, he ate like 100 of your guys. And I'm like, no! And then the clock starts ticking and your day's almost done, but you're still really far from the ship. And like they're carrying a piece of something, but they're not going to make it. Oh man, I'm stressed right now. I can't.
The worst was in Pikmin 3, the one that was in the sand, and it sucked in a bunch.
Yeah.
And you just saw a bunch of ghosts like, meow, coming out. I'm like, fuck, I just lost 50 of those guys.
Yeah. And
then I would start over, because I'm like, this is bullshit.
They had some hard stuff. And then there was that crab man. You remember that crab man from that game?
Vaguely.
Oh, man. And that big flying thing, and you had to throw him on top of the flying thing.
It was he the one that squished your Pikmin?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
He was a flying frog. That's what he was.
I'm conflicted. I love frogs, and I love Pikmin. But if it were a true frog, it would not be squishing Pikmin. Frogs don't do that.
No, frogs would eat the Pikmin, though. They go...
It would eat the Pikmin,
and eat them.
And it wouldn't move out of the way.
Did I tell you Ace met a toad the other day?
Yeah.
Ace met a toad for the first time. Didn't know what it was, so she was just barking at it. And the toad just sat there. He's like, whatever. And so she's just barking, and the toad's just sitting there. And it was so cute.
It's the best part about toads. You eat me, you're probably going to die. So... Yeah. I'm not moving anywhere.
I told you, Lucy, my parents' dog, like, licked a toad once, right?
Big mistake.
Yeah, she picked it up and put it in her mouth, and then she spit it right out, and she like, blah, blah, blah.
Was she high for hours?
No. But, like, for days, she was like, blah, blah, blah. Like, she couldn't get that taste out of her mouth. Never did it again.
That wraps it up for our video game news this week. Moving forward, DC news, movies... Fucking Viewmasters.
So, for those of you who don't remember, those Viewmasters were those little red things, and then you put, like, the little paper discs in there, and then it always showed you, like, zoo animals. And you had to click it. So, Mattel is re-releasing these. Pretty cool. Nice memory from my childhood.
Trying to relaunch it.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Motherfucking Batman, the animated series Viewmaster.
That's how you revive something.
That's how you
Batman,
do it.
the animated series on it.
Done. Purchased.
People my age are going to buy that shit.
Yep.
And I don't care that it's not exactly the same thing. This is some high-tech shit
This
now.
is so cool. So with this Viewmaster, you're going to get to explore the Batcave and go on missions with Batman. What
more can you ask for? You know what they didn't have in the original Viewmasters?
What?
Sound or video,
This
and you're
is
getting
true.
both of that.
Both
of those on
the
this.
Viewmaster.
They've secured Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman,
Wonderful.
Mark Hamill, Joker himself, Tara Strong as Batgirl, not Harley Quinn, and Lauren Lester as Robin.
Amazing. And what device do you use with this? It's not just the Viewmaster.
Right, so the way this package works is you get the Batman the Animated Series symbol on the front. There is a difference because that Batman is different than the rest of them. So on the front you get that regular Viewmaster, just as you remember. So essentially for anyone that's under 20, they're kind of like goggles or like the VR headsets right now, but a little bit slimmer, a lot smaller. And what you do is you put your phone, either Android or iOS devices, where the viewer would normally be. Download a special app from Mattel's thing, completely free. And then when you buy the device, it comes with a disc. And that disc you scan with the QR reader on your phone with your regular camera, and that unlocks the next experience or the Viewmaster bonus adventures missions. So you're watching it on your telephone, which is you're wearing on your head, and you move it around as if it were a VR experience. But you explore the Batcave that way. You have all new voice recordings from the cast from Batman the Animated Series, and it's not that bad. It's $44.99 for this Viewmaster, for the app, I guess the phone is probably, you have to have a phone to use this. And I'm sure the cost is nothing on this. Most of that is going towards the app development. I know that, because building an app is expensive.
But what they just did is so smart. So if someone told you, hey, we have this new VR device with Batman the Animated Series, would you buy it?
Absolutely.
Really?
With Batman the Animated Series?
I mean, I feel like for a lot of people, they'd be like, VR. Like, you're hesitant against VR. Anyway.
Well, like the Arkham VR experience, I'm not buying.
Right. You don't particularly like VR. But then they go, so we got Batman the Animated Series, which is pretty nostalgic, and we're going to stick it in this super nostalgic thing and just say that that's what it is. It's this viewfinder where you used to look at giraffes and zebras, but it's Batman. And you're like, oh shit, I'm going to buy that. That's so cool. And then like, but it's really VR. That's exactly what they just did. They just tricked you with your childhood.
And I don't care.
And we just ate it up. We went, nom, 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 with their trick cereal or a Lucky Charms or Cocoa Puffs or whatever the fuck.
I just hope that it still has that side clicking, that side click thing. I hope so. Even if you don't click it at all.
And then it would get like jammed right in the middle and you'd be looking at a zebra and a giraffe. Yeah. Man.
I remember I used to pinch my skin on that, because if you did it like too low, you can pinch all the time.
Our toys were so unsafe back in the day.
Yeah.
So unsafe.
Like, granted, there wasn't no lead in them, at least that I know of, so they weren't like 1920s
no, but
toys. They weren't tin.
They were definitely lead in McDonald's cups.
That's true.
There was a recall on those. I love that there was a recall on them, and I found out. I was like, oh shit. And then I opened the cabinet at your mom's, and they're all there.
Just full of lead.
Well... lead probably wore off by now.
Hopefully. Or we drank it all.
Those McDonald's plates that if you microwaved them too much, the paint chipped off of them.
I used to... Yep. I remember that.
They're still at your mom's house. We still use them.
And they're all bubbly from all the microwaving.
Because the paint chipped off into your food.
I guess I didn't get cancer. I guess none of us did.
I guess not.
Or maybe it's a late-acting cancer. I don't know.
We're going to find out one day, like, oh, yeah, this is from the lead in your McDonald's cup. Oh, well, fuck McDonald's.
You have McDonald's cancer. And I'd know exactly what that was. I'd be like, oh, I know why.
That lead.
This is set to release on November 15th, right in time for the fucking holidays.
So do I know what you want for the holidays now?
The Batman the Animated Series Viewmaster. And I could just buy the separate adventures, the discs. Did that have a name? Viewmaster discs? I just
call them discs.
I'd lose those things all the time,
They always used to get bent.
That was never an issue for me, but another thing, I figured out that I could just hold it against the window.
Yeah, and just look at it against the light. I figured that out too, but then it was real tiny.
That's the thing. It didn't get magnified. Super cool. I wonder if any other brokettes are going to get that, if you're all suckers like we are.
Let us know on Twitter at Reasons I'm Broke if you're going to pick it up.
We had just covered the latest adventure from Adam West, from Batman 66, Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders. Well, guess what? After, I'm sure, the success from Batman the Killing Joke, they went, put this shit in theaters too. This will be a one-night-only DC Films theater event through Fathom Events.
It's going to release on October 10th only. The film will be shown 3 times throughout the day at participating theaters.
When Killing Joke came out, it was twice in a day. So they're increasing it to 3, which is great.
And then they added an extra day, remember? So they got in 4 viewings.
Right, due to the pre-sales on The Killing Joke. I don't think this will do as well.
I don't think it will either.
But I am glad that they're doing it. I'm glad that it's at 7, at 10, and then I want to say like 4. It depends on the theater. Okay. But different times of the day. For people that get out late, they can still catch the 10 o'clock. If you get out early and you work early the next day, you can catch the 7 o'clock. I mean, it's smart. They got to keep doing this stuff. And I'm sure Fathom Events runs other stuff that sells a lot less tickets than Return of the Caped Crusaders
You mean the opera doesn't sell a lot of tickets?
Riff Tracks is probably their best thing aside from these DC events
right,
now.
So that's why they're like, put them out!
You can catch it early again on October 10th, but if you are going to buy it on Blu-ray anyway, it does come out November 1st.
So moving from the big to the little screen, according to Arrow executive producer Greg Berlanti, the Suicide Squad were added to Season 2 at Warner Brothers' request. Greg
Berlanti, huge in the DC television universe and that world, kicking ass. We have a quote here from him that said, "They said to us a year and a half before they started developing Suicide Squad, will you guys put a version of the squad in your show? Because we want to have it as a film at some point." And this is, again, from Berlanti, as he told the New York Magazine.
I feel like they didn't ask it that way. I feel like they were text messaging and he just read it wrong. Like, oh, will you do this? And they were really asking, like, will you do this? Because we're going to put him in a movie. So don't.
This isn't really a question. You're going to put them in the show. And then when we decide, okay, we're definitely going to do Suicide Squad, you can't use them anymore. So don't use them too much.
Just kind of get their name out there, but then just let them go away.
Because there were plans for more Suicide Squad. There were plans for more Deathstroke.
Mm-hmm.
And then Warner Brothers told them, well, no, we cut that out of the show.
No.
Put that there. No more.
No more.
No mas.
I need more lemon pledge.
But because we have extra information, the internet must react.
Of course they must.
So here we have this week's Nerd Rage Reaction!
Those are rocks.
That's the ocean?
No, that's his power. The ocean will be like... There's got to be lightning like... This needs to go on for 4 episodes.
So Nerd Rage Reaction to any new listeners out there. It is a quote, something funny, something that usually doesn't make too much sense, that we pick out, that we read usually from the Facebook comments, YouTube comments. We won't tell you the person's name or username. You are more than welcome to try to find it out there if you want. But otherwise, here's the quote from this news story.
What rubbish. The 2 teams were hardly alike, except for Deadshot. But even then, the actors who played the roles were as different as chalk and cheese. Well, sir, both begin with a CH, so...
More in common than you think.
Yeah.
I think they forget that Amanda Waller and Harley Quinn were both in both teams, Deadshot as well. They were anticipating Harley Quinn, and rightfully so, to be a huge property for them in merchandise.
Of course.
So, again, why would you try to confuse the audience by having 2 different versions, one on the little screen and one on the big screen? Either way, there's really... You hardly got the Suicide Squad anyway in the show, and it's on Arrow, so it's really not that huge a deal. And based on how well the film did, it might have been the right move, because do you think if they continued to use the Suicide Squad, the film would have been affected in some way?
In some way,
Probably
yes.
negatively?
Yeah, of course. Because you would have had people who might have seen Arrow first and said, well, this isn't the Suicide Squad that I like. Or you might have had people who saw the movie and said, oh, it's an Arrow, let me watch Arrow, and they go,
You're getting that right now with the Flash. That's not my Flash on the big screen. They should use the Flash from the... This is why they did that. It's exactly why they did it.
Now, curious though, how well did Suicide Squad do overall?
It's not up to BVS, if that's what you're getting at. It's close.
How far does it have to go?
I think another 150 million. Last time I checked. It's really close.
150 million is close? It's not going to make it.
Well, for a movie like that, it's as close as you're going to get to BVS.
Okay, so tomorrow we're going to go see the movie in theaters. And the next day. And the next day. And the next day.
Just to prove your point.
Yeah. Every time I hear that song on the radio, the one from the credits, Heathens, I'm like, oh, shit, I want to go see this movie.
That soundtrack must be doing so
It's
well. All those artists
well.
are very happy.
Of course they are. They worked their music in there so well. Like, I hear all these songs, Gangsters, that one's always stuck in my head. There's another one, I don't remember where it is in the movie, but every time I hear the song, I think of the movie immediately.
Purple Lamborghini, purple Lamborghini.
What? I don't... What are you... What? You just mixed 2 songs that aren't the same again, and I don't even know what you're singing.
You don't know Purple Lamborghini?
No.
It's one of the few videos in which Joker is in it. He filmed extra shit for it, and Jared Leto's running around doing nothing, yelling and doing nothing. I don't know why he's in the video at all.
Listen, just let him be there. Let him do his Joker thing. Why does the Joker do anything he does?
I don't know, especially this one.
Okay, perfect. You leave the Joker alone. I liked this Joker.
How about we get back to saving Constantine?
Yes! Hashtag save Constantine!
After several delays, NBC's Season 1 of Constantine will finally hit Blu-ray and DVD on October 4th.
Fucking finally!
Right around the corner. They've been advertising on the back of the DC books, front and center. Constantine holding his fucking fire flame ball, which I don't remember seeing.
Buy
Maybe
it for me.
They showed
Purchase
it a couple times.
Is that pre-ordered?
It's not pre-ordered yet.
Why haven't you pre-ordered it?
I'll get on it. I'll get on it this week, I promise.
You need to get on it right now. You got that cell phone next to you. Pre-order it.
The best part is at the bottom, they're like, and the rest of these shows, and it's iZombie and Gotham, and I'm like,
I like
yes.
iZombie.
No, it's great, but Constantine should be the big back page to
course.
it. I'm like, I looked at this ad, I'm like, everything is correct in this. I can't make any corrections. If I were an editor, I'd be like, no, you can send it to print. Away with you.
Away. Goodbye.
If you want to support Constantine, if you want to see another season maybe of Constantine, or see him appear again on Arrow, I'll even take that. This is the way to support Save Constantine. All the Hulu views are great. All of the tweets, hashtag Save Constantine are awesome. And bugging Matt Ryan at every convention, I guess, is okay. But this is what's going to speak volumes to the studios out there, to the CW. It's buying the Blu-ray and maybe putting him in another CW show, maybe putting him in Legends of Tomorrow, which is always what I thought was going to happen.
No, I don't like that show, so no.
But would you rather have that or nothing?
What else do we have to talk about?
Next bit of news, moving along since there is quite a bit. We now know the actor's name and who he is. Who is Slade Wilson?
His first name is Joe. I can't pronounce that last name.
Joe Manganiello.
What?
Could be Manganiello.
What?
I think it's Manganiello. Joe Manganiello.
Manganiello is how I pronounced it.
He's going to play Deathstroke in Affleck's Batman solo film. Now, that's how the news read. I don't know if that means they're confirming that he's only going to appear in the Batman solo film, or if he will also make an appearance in Justice League.
I could still see him making an appearance in Justice League, but since they've cast him for Affleck's solo Batman, then they do have to say, yes, this is who's going to be in it.
So you think this confirms Deathstroke in the Batman solo film, played by Joe. It could also be that he will, he's getting ready to play that in the Batman film, and maybe they got that double that appeared in that test footage for Deathstroke.
It's possible, yeah.
And they can film those parts right now, and then later on, take care of the rest.
So like you said, Jeff Johns did confirm the casting, but would not confirm or deny Deathstroke's appearance in Justice League.
He's in Justice League.
Justice League.
That tells it.
If he didn't deny it, then he's in it.
Answering our own questions, Manganiello previously appeared as Flash Thompson in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, and was more recently in How I Met Your Mother as Brad Morris.
I remember that character very vaguely.
We had mentioned before that they were going to choose a no-name actor. Mm-hmm. That's
pretty
basically a no-name actor.
Yeah,
I mean, how many people go, oh yeah, Joe Manganiello? No one says that.
No, nobody
They said,
does.
oh, Flash Thompson from Spider-Man. Okay.
Oh, weird guy from How I Met Your Mother who was a crazy lawyer. Yeah, I remember him.
See, and you saw the entire show.
I did. I watched every single episode.
And that's what you got out of it.
And like when I saw his picture, I was like, oh yeah, I kind of remember him. He was there a few times. I remember he was a bum at one point.
For the Deathstroke aficionados, do you think they're saying he needs to have all white hair? They need to dye his hair white? Or do you think it's like, well, he's old enough looking. It's
He's
close
kind
enough.
of old. They're probably saying that he needs to be older. I mean, I feel like he was a little chunky in How I Met Your Mother, and that's not what you think of as Deathstroke. So, yes, of course they're going to have complaints because they care so much about the character. But I had complaints about Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
That's true.
I had some strong hesitations. So, just to hold off, he could be great.
Could be. Yeah, never judge the casting before you even... Batfleck. That's all anyone needs to say, Batfleck.
Exactly. But he did a great job.
And he did a good job. And everyone hated it.
Yep.
And ended up loving Batfleck. They ended up loving Wonder Woman.
Yep. It's like, what's his name? Joker. Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger's another one.
Hated him too. And then everybody's like, oh, he's the best Joker ever. I loved him since the beginning.
Gal Gadot is so skinny and her boobs aren't big enough. 6 months later, she was the best part of the movie. That piece of shit movie. She was the best. And Ben Affleck. I knew he was going to be great.
Yep.
I knew he was going to be good.
I knew.
I was part of the 1% of internet that said he was going to be awesome.
Yes. Don't go back and read my posts. Just take my word.
Continuing on the DC films, in his first interview as co-head of DC Films, Jeff Johns laid out his vision for the future of the DC cinematic universe.
We have a quote here. Mistakenly in the past, I think that the studio has said, oh, DC films are gritty and dark, and that's what makes them different. That couldn't be more wrong. John said this to Wall Street Journal. Quote, it's a hopeful and optimistic view of life. Even Batman has a glimmer of that in him. If he didn't think he'd make tomorrow better, he'd stop. End quote.
It's a man that understands.
Yeah, he gets his Batman.
The DC universe.
He knows his Batman.
Johns and co-head John Berg, so they're both co-head of DC Films, have been working closely with Justice League director Zack Snyder and screenwriter Chris Terrio to adjust the film to fit their vision.
We have another quote. We accelerated the story to get to the hope and optimism a little faster, Berg explained.
Do you trust this? Is this okay?
They haven't let me down yet, so I'm just gonna wait.
They haven't let you down yet as the head of DC films. Even the DC movies we like anyway,
Yeah.
So it's all okay. It's fine.
So I'm fine. Whatever. As long as they keep telling a good story, I'm fine.
Now, in the past, we've both agreed and said that we don't mind the heavier tones in the DC films. That we do enjoy that. We do like the darker tones and the gritty. Is them moving lighter going to affect possibly how we enjoy these? I feel like the Dark Knight trilogy set that precedence moving forward.
So for me, them moving lighter entirely depends on the franchise. So Suicide Squad, it was lighter, but that particular team and cast could handle that. They could still carry that. Batman is going to be much more difficult to make him lighter, because Batman is very gritty, and that's just who he is. Superman, yes, you can make him lighter. I think even Justice League you can make a little bit lighter. As long as all of these tell a good story and remain true to the character, I'm not going to have a problem with that. The reason I think we like the darker tones better is because they use that to pull forth more character development.
And symbolism and story,
right.
Yeah.
And that's what they like. If they can do that with a lighter story, that's fine. I'm okay with it.
I agree. It still needs to have some weight to it. It can't just be mindless action. I don't want this to be an action film. I want this to still have a lot of the arcs that we've seen in the previous movies, even, going back to even the Nolan trilogy and the new stuff. There's always a ton to digest in these superhero movies, as far as superhero movies go. Standard movies, I mean, they're not good movies. No superhero movie. Very few superhero movies are good movies, but in the world of superhero action movies that we live in now, it's nice to have something you can think about and digest for months and have conversations about, instead of just, that cool scene where the Hulk flipped Loki around with his, you can only go so far with that kind of stuff. Instead, you want to talk about why Superman allowed so much destruction. Is Batman right in going after him? All of that we talked about at length leading up to the movie, and that's the good stuff, and even afterward, too. Something important here, when asked if they'd address the level of violence we saw from Batman and Batman v Superman, Johnsonberg said that they won't be, quote, par for the course, and then no further comments were made on the subject.
I don't even understand what that means.
Par for the course, so they won't be going to match that exact interpretation.
Okay.
It's going to be tough, man, because millions of people saw Batman v Superman, and they saw him murder people left and right. And when we saw the movie, we said, okay, well, that's just the Batman that we're going to get now. Eventually, they're going to reboot the franchise, and we're going to get a new Batman, but for now, this is what we're getting. And instead, it sounds like they're either going to try to ignore that he killed people in Batman v Superman and just kind of have him knocking out people left and right, or they'll come up with a reason for him to stop killing. Maybe the result of Batman v Superman causes him to stop killing. I don't know. It's going to be a tough one, and I'm glad I don't have that fucking job.
I mean, how I would spin it personally, so we know that in Batman v Superman, Robin's dead. I would have made Robin's death the turning point for when Batman started killing, because he says, well, somebody's got to take these criminals out, or they may do the same thing, to other people. And if somebody has to take on that guilt of them dying, I'd rather it be me. And so that's what starts it. And then maybe at some point, somebody finds out about the story of Robin and why Batman's doing this all, and they just confront him and say, what would Robin say about this? And that's when he switches back and says, no, I need to find a better way.
That's why we need that Red Hood movie. They need to confirm Red Hood already. And I've no evidence for this, but I'm still saying Red Hood. Fucking Red Hood. Just like I did with Arkham Knight when that came out. I'm like, it's probably Red Hood. And then it ended up being true. I'm like, oh shit, I better stop talking about that. People haven't played this.
Yep.
Now, Justice League is set to release still November... Oh, I get that one wrong. It's going to be next year. I typed it in wrong. November 17th, 2017.
We do have another Nerd Rage reaction for this, though. I mean, who isn't nerd raging?
I guess so.
I guess we're just not on the boat. So this one is, if it's hopeful and optimistic, why would there be a grave need for a Justice League? Isn't Batman forming the Justice League because of a vision, warning from the future, that was not hopeful or optimistic? Sir, are you hopeful and optimistic? Because I don't feel that you are.
They're moving towards something that I whined about, and they're trying to fix it. I don't like it anymore. No, I don't like it. I don't even know if this person wanted that or not, but...
I'm sure they didn't.
This bit didn't make sense. If it's hopeful and optimistic, why would they need a Justice League? But
he's not understanding what they're saying.
We've had years and years of Justice League comics and stories that are not dark and grim and the future that Batman is talking about. All of that, the Justice League can exist in that world.
So what he's looking at is saying, if the situation is hopeful and optimistic, why do you need the Justice League to swing in and save it? Because it's an optimistic situation.
Okay, well, aren't they the one, because they're around and they're making that future, they're kicking Darkseid's ass out of Earth,
yes,
no longer dark.
Exactly, but he's saying, yes, but he's looking at it as, oh, so the movie's all hopeful and optimistic. There's not going to be ups and downs and problems that they have to solve. If it's all hopeful and optimistic, why do you even need them? Because it's a perfect world. What are they doing there?
That's true. Nerd Ragers always black and white.
Yeah.
There's no middle for
There's
them.
not a gray. They're not looking at this as it can be a lighter movie with a villain that's trying to stop them.
Hopeful and optimistic. So this is going to be monetized on YouTube then.
Clearly. Well, whatever, Nerd Rager. Just keep on Nerd Raging.
They're still going to see it. Money to them.
Mm-hmm. Then
they can complain again after they paid for it because they paid for it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Whatever. But then they'll see it again, so...
We'll make fun of them then, too. So on to the comic book news of this week. Adding to the Hanna-Barbera line of comics, the Jetsons were announced with Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti as creatives.
That's amazing.
Love Jimmy and Amanda.
They're awesome. I love the Jetsons, too. I used to watch that all the time. So no date was given, but earliest release month would be December.
So at the earliest, we'll see it in the upcoming previews catalog. And the very first major Rebirth event is going to be Justice League versus Suicide Squad, starting in December.
So fucking smart.
One step closer to that fight that I want to see on the big screen, the Justice League versus the Suicide Squad. Why else did Amanda Waller make the team?
There's no
Task
other
Force
reason.
X, to take down Superman
and
the Justice League.
Of course.
Let's see that fight.
So this will be a 6-issue event that will release as a mini-series title with 2 additional tie-in issues, each in the Justice League and Suicide Squad series.
Jason Fabok, who previously worked on Batman Eternal, will be the artist, and Joshua Williamson, who worked on The Flash Rebirth #1, will be writing.
We really enjoyed Flash Rebirth #1, so that's some good news.
So anyone that wasn't clear on this, there's going to be 6 separate issues that are just going to be Justice League versus Suicide Squad, and then the ongoings that share those same titles are going to be tie-ins to the rest of this series.
So you'll end up with a total of 8 issues.
Yes.
Because you have 6-issue miniseries and 2 tie-ins.
Oh, 2 additional tie-ins in each of the series. So there's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 issues total if you want to collect everything. If you only want the event, it's only 6 issues.
So the miniseries will begin with Batman assembling a plan to put an end to Amanda Waller's Task Force X.
Does that sound familiar?
Yes. He's like, I'm done with your shit. Here's my friends.
It's just like at the end of Batman v Superman. Doesn't he tell her that exact thing? He threatens her team with his.
Mm-hmm. You mean at the end of Suicide Squad?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Suicide Squad.
Shut them down. Or I will. Yep. Good job, Batman.
Amanda Waller better fucking retire because this is over. Batman alone could take down the Suicide Squad.
But if she retires, then how will she encounter Batman more?
So she's in love with... This is why she's doing this, because she's in love with Batman too? Is this why everyone does everything in the DC universe?
Because they're in love with Batman. Go ahead, pick a character. I'll tell you.
Dr. Manhattan.
He's in love with Batman.
So why is he... what explain his actions in the DC universe as love for Batman.
Well, okay, so he went and, changed their whole universe, right?
Yep.
He was just, messing it up. Because originally he was going to make it so that, Batman's parents didn't die, and that's how he was going to change the universe. But then he realized that Batman didn't really want that. He wanted, to be able to save people. So he's like, all right, well, now I have more respect for this man because he doesn't want his life perfect. He just wants to save people. But this Superman guy's in the way. They're real close. So I'm going to change it so they kind of hate each other and they aren't close anymore. Just going to take away 10 years of friendship. But it can't be shady, so I can't just take away Superman. So I'm going to have to take away all his friends.
So he's like the jealous girlfriend.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Little did he know that Superman would still find the way back to Batman.
He sure did. And then Batman figured out all his shit. And then now he's going to love him even more. Oh, well, hello there.
Always finding a way.
He's going to be flexing with his, no pants. I'll just stand this way while we're talking.
Ooh, that Manhattan?
Yeah.
All right. Dr. Manhattan Loves Batman theme song.
I didn't know it was a Dr. Manhattan Loves Batman theme song.
It's all the same theme song.
Okay. Well, and Amanda Waller loves Batman too.
Well, I couldn't use that for her because she can't fly.
Oh, okay. That's true.
So that will do it for our news this week. Next, we have our Patreon shoutouts of the week, and then our comic book highlight.
So our shoutouts this week go to Bobby, whose Twitter handle is @CubanSlim, and Neil, who is @InMattZ68.
Thank you so much, Bobby and Neil. Be sure to give them a follow on Twitter because they are helping make the show better for all of you with all phonic audio right now with the guest interviews. All of that helps. Thank you so much. If you want to back us on Patreon, if you want your monthly shout out, that's at patreon.com/thereasonsimbroke. You can also find the link at thereasonsimbroke.com.
But of course, our podcast will always be free. The best thing you can do is interact with us on Twitter. We've mentioned before @ReasonsIBroke. We also have @Kelli, who is me. I say funny things all the time. I just crack myself up daily.
All the time.
All the time. I post cute pictures of me and the dog.
Tweeting every day.
And I tweet all the days. I don't tweet all the days. Listen, sometimes I forget for 3 weeks at a time. But if you interact with me, then I'll get it and I'll write back in 3 weeks.
We also want to thank DecalAvenue.com for helping us out at the $5 reward tier for Patreon.
And that does wrap up all our news for the week. We are going to move into our comic book highlight.
This week we've got a new number one. We always like to review a new series or new issue so that Brocats have a better idea on what to pick up or not to pick up. In this case, it is Skybourne number one, written with art by Frank Cho, who I really enjoy. Not the nicest person, but I do like his work. Colors by Marcio Menis.
This book had a very interesting premise that I think I liked.
Okay.
But I feel like I wrote fan fiction better than this when I was 15.
Agreed. So this is a 5-issue miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
And I read this thing. Gorgeous book. I love Frank Cho. He's awesome. It's very cinematic. This is almost like a James Bond book, which I love.
Well, when you told me it was Skybourne, I kept hearing Skybond. And so I literally started reading this thinking it was a James Bond book. And I'm like, is James Bond a woman now? I'm very confused.
And that's sort of what we get. It is kind of like a female Bond, but it seems like she has superpowers.
Right.
She's super strong. And I don't even know if she's the main character due to actions that happen in this. In the cover, there's a whole different guy and who I think is the villain. I'm not really sure. But again, the artwork is awesome. It's very cinematic. You could probably film this into like a little TV series or a movie. But the problem is the story and the dialogue. When I finished reading this, I thought, is there an editor on this? And I generally looked. I'm like, maybe there's no editor. And yeah, there is an editor. I don't know. I don't know how much editing he actually did.
15-year-old Carl.
So I know Frank Cho is very touchy about you messing with his artwork, and I'm sure he's the same with his writing.
I'm sure.
So maybe he just gave suggestions. One of the examples is at one point the main character says, "Damn it," twice in the same word bubble, like back to back. It's just weird pacing things with the dialogue that I really wish they had someone to kind of rein them in and say, okay, look, some of this works better without dialogue. Like here's a perfect example. She's trying to catch this guy, and she says, "Damn it, son of a bitch, it's locked." And she busts through the metal door. Again, she's got superpowers. And then he's gone, and she says, "You slippery little snot," and little things like that. And everyone's like, "You bitch, you cunt," and it is a 15-year-old. Like, they think this is how these characters speak.
One of the things that got me is she calls a man a Mitch at one point.
That's
and they're
right.
like, "What's a Mitch?" And she's like, "It's a man bitch." Like, just call him a bitch. That's way worse.
and then the fact that they had to we know what a Mitch is, but I don't know. It's just, you said it would have been more effective to just say less. Mm-hmm. Maybe a tough look, or it seems like the Frank Cho. And all respect, I like Frank Cho. We're Team Cho. But he doesn't know how to write men or women. That's mean to say, but
I understand.
I don't mean it like that.
And here's the thing. It's like you said, yes, we really like Frank Cho. this is very, you can tell that he's a new writer, is what this is to me. So he hasn't quite figured out how to really weave a story in a pace that works well. You know, you can read plenty, but actually sitting down and doing it yourself is very different. So when I read this, I'm very much reminded of being in high school and writing things like this. Or if I look back on my old fan fictions, they were very similar to this, where it was very dialogue heavy. You know, you didn't really rely on what was going on around to tell the story. You explained everything. You were just throwing in words because they sounded cool. Like, and that was just because I hadn't written much. And of course it develops as you go on. And if I had kept going, then maybe I could be like writing all these comic books and but I didn't. So that's what it feels to me. He has a good premise, and I understand where he's trying to go with it. And I think when you sit back and he were to say, this is a story that I'm trying to tell, you'd say, yeah, that's a really cool story. He just doesn't really know how to deliver that.
As much as it seems like we sort of bashed the book, what is it? It's from Boom Studios, $3.99. It's worth it for the artwork alone.
Yeah.
And that's why we're going to get all 5 issues. We like Frank Cho. We tend to get his variants with the Wonder Woman series. Those look great. So for that, it's awesome. It's fun. His artwork is great. Is beautiful. The coloring is awesome. Worth $3.99 for sure. We just wish the story was a little bit tighter. By the way, if we ever write a comic, I am putting Mitch in there somewhere. Like, I really want to write a comic, but I also now really want to put Mitch in there.
It'll be a man named Mitch.
And then explain what that means. Okay. It's because someone's going to say, you know what Mitch means, right? And then he's going to say, yes, it's a man who's a bitch. And then they'll both look at the reader. No one will get that joke.
No, but we will. Well, us and the 2 brokettes that we have will understand. Our 2 listeners.
So there you go, listeners. That will do it for our podcast this week. Huge thanks for, once again, making August the biggest month for us this year. If you're a new listener, thank you so much for tuning in and for giving us a shot. And if you did enjoy the show, don't forget to review us on iTunes. It takes 2 minutes, and it goes a long way in moving us up the charts on iTunes and also having new brokettes discover the show.
Like we've said a million times before, the reason we do this show is just to interact with you guys. So if there's something we talked about on the podcast that you want to talk to us more about, hit us up on Twitter, again, at ReasonsI'mBroke, at Kelli. You can talk to us on Facebook, everywhere.
Instagram, Tumblr, all those links on at thereasonsimbroke.com.
Daniel will respond almost immediately. I will respond in 3 weeks when I check my Twitter again.
So there you go, brokettes. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelli.
We'll see you next week.